Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your weekly Bitcoin update for the week of Monday, May 4th, 2026. This is a weekly chart that spans almost 10 years of activity. It was, just backtrack just a little bit, in November of 24, about a year and a half ago, that we settled for the first time above a 5-year channel structure. We fell back to it during the early Trump administration, the second one, during the tariff talks, spiked below it, but never closed back below this 88,186. Following that, we rounded up to the full wave count. Long-term resistance, A minus B, 22 high minus 21 low. Add the back to the 22 high, and you have the full swing where the market can reach an equilibrium state, an exhaustion point on a rally. 122,433 will remain a long-term price resistance area for some time to come. We did back in January then close clearly below this structure, 88,186, which set up a longer-term sell signal that was realized almost realized, I should say, within about 2 weeks. In fact, it was really the settlement below this rising 3-year channel bottom at the same exact time that was the sell signal. 92,970 remains a mid to longer term resistance area as we continue into later 26. I'll talk more about that in a moment. But following this sell signal, we were anticipating this nearly 10-year channel bottom at 61,361. This, in my opinion, is our base of long-term support for Bitcoin. It is above which Bitcoin, I think, remains a relevant speculative entity. I think if we close below this low 60s, that we enter another significant sell signal that should then relegate Bitcoin, I think, to more of a secondary a speculative entity. But I don't need to get into all that. Let's talk technicals. If we were to test 61,361 over the next few months, it is a formation, nearly 10-year channel bottom that can contain selling through all of 26 and into 27, perhaps a decade-long low here. And from here, you could make the case that, we didn't actually test it. It was around 58,000. 1% below that would have been about 6. Yeah, so no, we didn't come close to testing it. We didn't fall within 1% of it. But, that you can see here that we were not far off that mark. And we've been consolidating or moving higher ever since. This is really the framework through the rest of the year, as far as I'm concerned, selling 92,970 if given the opportunity, and aggressively buying 61,361. Buying 61,361 on a long-term basis. If you're not yet invested in Bitcoin, if you will, this is the area to do it. All the way down to really 59,891, which is another support level projected off that 22 low, a rising 2/3 speed line. The very upper 50s, low 60s remains a base of long-term support. If we were in the months ahead to close below this zone, then I would look for the mid to upper 10,000 region within a full year or less. But we're not there, and I'm not expecting it unless we were to close below this zone. Until then, this zone is the stick your neck out and buy aggressively Bitcoin if given the opportunity. Now, more recently, we did settle above this kind of range pivot. 73,791 is the March 24 high, and then you've got this pullback low of April 25 at 74,412. I've been mentioning over the last few weeks since closing above this zone that we can now anticipate over the next 2 to 3 months 92,970. There is another buy signal in play if settled above 80,182. Now I'm opening the chart up, zooming in a bit, and you can see 73,791, 74,412. It's been holding selling pressures since we closed above it 3 weeks ago, but what's been holding buying pressures is this basically a 3-month rising channel top. 80,182, if settled above, should yield 92,970 by the end of May. Until then, we can continue to trade both sides ping pong style between 74,000 and 80,000 roughly for the next week, 2 or 3. But if we close above 80,182, which I think is the likely outcome, given the fact that we are now above this pivot point, we should see once again 92,970 within 1 to 2 months, where we could top out through the third quarter and fall away again. Downside, if we close back below 73,791, that will keep in play that 61,361 area. So I'm not saying you should reduce your commitment to Bitcoin. I think if you're more of a 1 to 2, 3 month swing trader, let's say, closing back below 73,791 may well be your indication to exit and anticipate then a bottom picking opportunity in the low 60,000s where we could bottom out through the rest of the year and even through the rest of the decade. I'm going to leave it at that for this week's Bitcoin analysis. You have a great week.